Hello, this is Christopher Hongo for Real Masterminds, and today we're going to be talking about Tokatsu in America. A lot of people have been speculating, can it come to America, will it come to America, and well, it did. Roughly around March of this year, it did come out. It came out on Shout. Now, with Shout, the thing is, you have to go through Pluto TV, so you get to watch your favorite Super Sentai, Ultraman, Kamen Rider, so on and so forth, of association with Tokatsu. Now, a lot of things can go right, and a lot of things can go wrong. Will it last? Will it just be a one-time thing? We're going to be talking about the pluses and minuses of whether or not it can work, will work, should work, how it should work. We are going to also talk about the history of how America tried bringing it into America. Whether it, succeeded, failed. In the beginning, Tokatsu was never really an actual thing. It was more or less like something they put together. And originally it started with Ultraman. The giant alien thing that either became a host to some human, which usually became a thing, was an object that they actually used in order to transform. They kept saying their name for the Ultraman, which made them transform from a normal person to a giant being. And they usually fight giant monsters or invaders or other mysterious things of the galaxy. But that was the big thing for Ultraman. And that was the first Tokatsu series that became big. Then we had Kamen Rider. With the introduction of Kamen Rider, it actually brought a whole bunch of ideas, because you actually had a character who basically was your quote-unquote ordinary guy, but of course we know he's not ordinary. When they actually started Kamen Rider, it actually became something of, at first, a hidden gem, because not a lot of people knew about Kamen Rider, because it was like the 70s. No one really understands the 70s. The 70s was either disco. Kamen Rider was like a little bit of a dark horse. It grew huge in Asia. It grew a lot of influence in Asia. And then slowly but surely, hints and, flashes in the other states, in other countries. The very first Kamen Rider, he was basically a human turned to like some of a cyborg type thing. He had the belt, and he was riding a bicycle. Well, motorcycle. My bad. Motorcycle. It's him fighting an evil organization. And that was the big premise behind Kamen Rider. The one-man army versus evil villains who thought to take over the world.
Gee, Ray, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Most of what Shocker was, I still say Kamen Rider, when it first started, it looked a little bit weird. Because it's a bug-shaped eye mask with antennas and a belt. The concept itself was interesting, because he makes a pose, jumps in the air, you see a little thing spin on his belt, and then he transforms. And then he says, Kamen Rider, Ichigo. But then we also find out there's also the second Rider, who was actually his replacement, because the original Kamen Rider Ichigo actually had an accident where he broke both his legs. And he had to be hospitalized, go through the whole rehab and whatnot. So the developers actually, within a few episodes, actually had to make like some side story to say, oh, he's not in this episode, he's going to be in the next episode, or just to give the viewers something to at least say, yeah, he's going to be back, just not today or next week. So they actually had to replace him with Kamen Rider Nigo, which is Kamen Rider 2, which is basically the same guy. Same sort of thing. Cyborg, fighting the evil bad guys, this time just a little bit different with the scarf. And instead of Rider kicks, he does Rider punches. Once that actually became a thing, Kamen Rider Nigo 2, taking the main character for a while until Kamen Rider 1 came back. And then when Kamen Rider 1 came back, it was like a whole thing like, should we replace him, go back to number 1, or remove number 2. Eventually they were like, you know what, make it a duo. So they actually became a duo. And that was technically almost like a team-based. Two-man team. It became a big thing in Japan. It became a staple. The Kamen Rider kicks, the Kamen Rider punches, the Kamen Rider jump. And the bug aesthetics that later became the basis for each and every one, especially the belts. No matter how you change it, no matter how you alter it in some way, shape, or form, the Kamen Riders will always have the belt because it's the staple. The bug can change over time to, let's say, a bee or a scorpion. Now we're gonna move on from, instead of a one-man army, onto a team, aka Go Rangers. Now, stay with me. Their color-coordinated team, instead of a one-man team, they actually have a group of 5 alternate people, different backgrounds, different ideologies, forming a group, finding off the monsters of, well, what the whole Tokatsu slogan is, Monster of the Week, which has become a complete slogan and thing throughout all of Tokatsu. Go Rangers actually became a really good thing. Drew a lot of audiences, mostly just in Asia. It drew a little bit in America during the 70s, but it was like a small percentage. It wasn't really that big. But once Go Rangers ended, they were trying to go for season 2, but didn't do so well. Then, guess who decided to not only come to Japan, but decided to revive that type of team? It was Stan Lee.
As you know, I'm quite keen on comic books.
He saw, the original Go Rangers, like, I like it. You know what? We could do something with them. We'll figure something out. And we got Jack and Battle Fever. They were an interesting concept. It was people from 5 different continents joined together, even though the costumes are terrible. And that's from my perspective. I'm sorry, it's from my perspective. It looks really terrible. You literally have a woman wearing a wig, a blonde wig, and she's Miss America. Stan Lee brought it back alongside TOEI, aka TOEI BANDI. It became what Tokatsu genres started. He actually wrote the very first episode for Jack and was very well reviewed. Ever since then, it became known as Super Sentai. Multiple variations of the different teams, adding, subtracting, even increasing it down to only 3, aka Sun Vulcan. Super Sentai, surprisingly, stood itself among the 2, Kamen Rider and Ultraman. Ultraman still standing strong, and Kamen Rider at that time evolving to either making more videos, movies, different types of series, spin-offs. Super Sentai in of itself still remained as a team. They wasn't really like a one-man team. No. It's always going to be a team. But in of itself, I'd still say Super Sentai is my favorite Kamen Rider. My favorite Ultraman. I've only seen Ginga, which is mostly like an anniversary series. But everyone has their own likes. I'm only saying Kamen Rider and Super Sentai. Those are the ones. Then we had Stan Lee's The Spider-Man. They took Spider-Man as it was from Stan Lee's perspective, changed it up so much that he became almost like a total ripoff of Super Sentai, gave him a robot, and yeah. Funny thing is, no one ever talks about it anymore because it lasted only about like one season, and ended after that. So pretty much, it's surprising to say that Stan Lee
Excelsior
actually did help create Super Sentai and became the basis for every other Super Sentai after that. no matter how many they were, he helped it back up again. But of course, there's always will be the chances of the different eras. The Showa, the Heisei, and of course the new Reiwa. Those are the different eras for each era that Japan is going to be going with. Right now, we're living in the Reiwa era, and what's going on is, in Super Sentai, we got the Kira Majors. It's like a messed up kaleidoscope. Then we have Kamen Rider 01, which, by all accounts, initially it looked, but giving it a few episodes, understanding the characters, understanding the story, it became a really good series, and I like it. The only actual Ultraman series I actually watch is the Netflix one, which is surprisingly good. And Gridman, because AKA they brought it into America as Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, which was good. It was a great series. It drew people in. Hell, back then I actually had some of the toys. Let's go back into what worked, what didn't work, and what they tried. What they tried to do was basically, in the beginning, it was dubbed. It didn't work. It had its moments. Most people liked it a little bit, but fell very short. Another one they actually tried doing is VR Troopers. VR Troopers is basically a mashup of different metal heroes. Certain metal heroes are from different series. Big Bag Beetleborgs, which was a little bit weird because it also came around like roughly around the same time as Power Rangers and Mask Rider. Mask Rider did toy sales more so than just episodes. And the funny thing is, it did have a small, we'll say, cameo in space.
Oh my god!
And it's based on Kamen Rider Black RX. For the Power Rangers, they used Zoo Rangers, which is the very first dino-based, dino-themed Super Sentai team. And it was the biggest, like, explosion of merchandise, commercials. It blew up faster than any other, we'll say, suggestions of Tokatsus ever. It actually broke records, actually. Concerts were filled with kids. Toy stores were gone. I kid you not, in of itself, it blew up big time. It has always been a favorite to me, to Amanda, to basically a big wide range of fans. All over the world, spanning not only in America, but UK, Sweden, Spain. It blew up so much that it even impressed Japan. The guys who created Zoo Rangers, they liked it so much, they even made a little parody in their parody series called Akiba Rangers. And the funny thing is, all they ever did was, they had the Red Ranger and the Green Ranger. The only thing is they changed was, they had an American flag collar going across their necks. That's it. They were a big thing, and we liked them so very much. And like I said, Mind Morphin is still going strong. That is a big success. Big success. Mask Rider didn't do so well, which sucks, because Kamen Rider as a whole was a huge thing in Japan. And then, think about it. It was first before Super Sentai, and Super Sentai was mostly just team, and the teamwork and the whole dynamic what actually drew more people's attention, rather than a single person fighting off villains or aliens or beasts or whatever concept of the monster or the weak or bad guys they were going to go with. And I still say, they even tried reviving it with Dragon Knight. Kamen Rider Dragon Knight. It lasted one season, but I sort of liked it. I watched it before actually watching Kamen Rider Ryuki, which it was based off of. And what they did was just sort of the same thing for the transformations in Ryuki. Just said Kamen Rider rather than Henshin, which is their usual slogans for Kamen Rider. But I did like Dragon Knight. But then when I watched Ryuki, it was actually a little bit better. Super Sentai drew a lot from Kamen Rider in the sense of instead of a singular, they had multiple people as a team fighting alongside one another, growing and adapting to one another, having go through struggles. Even in Super Sentai, people got killed off, you know, because they actually had, you know, the sub-teen era. I still say this to this day. Super Sentai in America is still booming. Kamen Rider, it's more or less like either you have a specific one that you want to go with, or a specific series or type of genre you want to go with Kamen Rider. Let's say adding more riders, aka Gaim, for instance. Even though it's a Sengoku fruit lock thing, it was interesting. You got more riders, you got more characters, but you also, before Gaim, there was also Kabuto, which had multiple riders, which is surprising because not a lot of Kamen Riders actually had, Kamen Rider series actually had multiple riders. It was a change of pace, but it was a good change of pace. And it drew a lot of people's attention. With Gaim, they expanded to a point where not only they actually had in almost every episode a different rider, or the same riders appearing, just different form, but in the movies they actually had more as well. Which, of course, is just movie ones, they won't appear again. Now we're going to go on to another mild success, which was Big Bad Beetleborgs. And the thing is, with Big Bad Beetleborgs, it was based on the Metal Heroes. Now, the Metal Heroes were an offshoot. They were really like a single person or a team. It was kind of like a mix and match. Space Sheriff Galvan, for instance. A space sheriff who basically defeats aliens and saves the galaxy one day at a time. They actually used his armor set in VR Troopers. Now, I'm going to go back to Big Bad Beetleborgs. They used the Metal Hero Kabutos, or we'll say the Metal Bug ones, first season, because Metallics was the second season. It grew to some point because of how kiddie, enjoyable, watchable. It was interesting. It drew a lot of people's attentions, and it was a different change, a different spin on the concept of heroes, but them being kids, actual kids, not teenagers with attitude. I really did like Big Bad Beetleborgs, except when the second season, Metallics, ended with a cliffhanger, and I'm like, why? And it still to this day annoys the hell out of me, because I actually did like it. It was interesting. It was fun to watch, fun to, you know, draw people's attention to. It did revive it in the Go Kaiser film as like a, you know, a special. It was mostly like a crossover film. They had like the metal keys, which was supposed to be like a special power. So that was like a way to bring them back. The success of certain things can affect certain mediums, but it's mostly because of the audiences. Audiences nowadays, even now, they like team-based. They like single heroes. More so now since the Avengers happened. Garo was a series that was more of like, we'll say late teens, young adults because of the concept that he used. You have knights killing demon-like beings that can actually imitate humans, but also could swallow humans whole and get stronger, and they each have their own special abilities. And the thing is, you can kill a horror, but they only get sent back to their world. They can still come back through gates that are basically portals that can be made out of, let's say, your dark desires, and it appears through a water bottle or a camera, for instance. It's through those gates that these things actually attach to people. And the Makai Knights, aka the knights that actually kill the horrors in order to protect humanity, are basically like the knights that you read about. They fight the evil, win the day. Garo, in of itself, draws you in with its story, with its drama, with its dark history. I originally watched the 3rd season and the 2nd season. Now, the thing is, with the 2nd season, it was a direct sequel to the 1st season. The 3rd season is an actual complete spin-off, but it still remains the same Garo, just different. Season 4, Season 5, Season 4 being an actual direct sequel to Season 2. Season 5 is a direct sequel to Season 3. For me, if they actually brought that sort of concept and just gave it an American spin on it, it can be something. They have to keep it between teens, like late teens, early adults, because of the material. It is very dark. For me, if you were to bring a Kamen Rider series, I would say you could start with most likely 01, for instance. Robot Revolution. Evil organization, or an organization that basically tries to hide its influence from creating the machines and what the machines are capable of. You could use that type of instance because we live in a technological age. It works. It depends on how you go about it. It's just more about who likes best. The Super Sentai or the Power Rangers. Super Sentai you get more out of. A little bit of comedy, a little bit of action, a little bit of drama. And then you have Power Rangers, but can waver too much into just cliches.
It's hammer time! I have no idea what hammer time is, or how it differs from regular time.
I'd say it's a smart move, and it's worked. Another thing I forgot to say, Ultraman Tiga was another one, and Gridman. Those two Ultraman Tiga was what they did in, we'll say, mid to late 2000s, and all they did was just take the same episodes and just dub it. And it worked. I liked it. It was interesting. For the Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, it was the Cyber Ultraman, aka Gridman. And that was awesome to watch. I definitely say that the pluses that are going on with Tokatsu in America, I would definitely say the streaming is doing good. I think it's your best bet is to go through the free service, aka the Tokatsu YouTube channel, Tokatsu website, or Pluto TV. You get to watch it for free. Who doesn't love free? And for the Americans, for the success for certain Tokatsu series, you only got Power Rangers, aka Super Sentai. Not a lot of great advancements in Kamen Rider nor Ultraman. So if they were to bring any of those, for me, and this is for me, if they were to adapt an actual really good series, not Dino Knights for the Super Sentai, I would say Kyo Yujers, the Space Sentai, aka the Saviors, because A, it's the premise of space, much like they did in space. God damn it! Or Lost Galaxy, or Alien Rangers, you would have a variety of characters, not just humans or humanoids. Variety of characters, much like it did with also Doggy Kruger, SPD. That's another sort of space. I would definitely say that would probably be the best course, because let's say since it is on Nickelodeon, you could actually have, like, say, for like the in-between episodes or leading up to the episodes, like say a quiz about astrology.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
history of like the stars, the mappings, like say, where is the North Star? Can you find it? That type of thing. And plus you can give scientific facts to kids nowadays. I would definitely say it would be a smart move, because not only you're introducing kids to science, astrology, which is a great thing because it teaches them the stars, how to map the stars. And let's say a person gets lost, they can easily find their way home. Okay, yes, with the North Star, but you can actually figure out exactly where because of the stars. Certain type of stars that you would actually notice, depending on if it's actually really a nice clear sky and not dark, or if you're in the desert. But yeah, I will definitely say it would be a smart choice, because me and Amanda actually watched Cosmos, and it was so good. It's a little side note, but Cosmos actually draws your attention, not with just its graphics, but with the ideas that flow with it. Different worlds, certain things that could happen, should happen, have happened, how certain things work. That actually drew us in. Again, I would definitely say it would be a smarter choice rather than Dino Knights, because you're basically just grabbing what literally just happened, just finished, and it's going to be for this coming up year, 2021. And I don't think it's going to be a good choice. I just have a feeling it's just going to be like another spin-off with the Super Dino Charge. But it's more about how you go about it, the premise, the characters, who's going to be playing the characters, the cast, the directors, practically almost everything that has to go with it. But for me, it's mostly the writing. I don't want it to be dry. I want to at least have some adventure to it. If anything, through some, for the Dino Knights, some like medieval type thing, or linking to what like almost was similar to the Japanese and kept the same premise. Much like Garo Rangers and Wild Force, it was perfect. And Time Force, the premise of Time Force mixed well with the Mirror Sentai Time Rangers, because they use the same premise, just changed it differently. As long as they go around that route rather than make the terrible ideas they made with Beast Morphers. I say the stupid key is a prop. It's literally a prop. And they use the same thing for silver and gold. And the thing is, they got the gold animal wrong. It's not a praying mantis. No! It's a Kabuto beetle. A beetle. Not a mantis. A beetle. That is the thing. You do not have praying mantis, which has none of the abilities, not like bladed arms. It just didn't really feel like it, especially when I'm trying to watch an episode. It feels like my heart, I felt the cringe. It was like, want to move on but can't. My brain, it's like watching Beavis and Butthead. You want to watch it, but every time you watch the episode, your brain just goes down the toilet. It's bad, and that's just from my perspective, because there's other great Power Ranger series that actually use the same formula to a better extent. I would definitely suggest the Uchu Sentai Kyo Users, because not only you get multiple Rangers, you get to have space. You can have space travel. You have a wide variety of things you can confused with that. The Zoogers is before Kyougers, but I tell you this much: I would prefer Kyougers to Tokyugers more so, just because Tokyuger is completely prop-based. Dino Knights, which is cool. Don't get me wrong, is cool, and I still say Dino Knights is actually a really good series. I should have wanted it adapted too soon. Give it like another season, then go with Dino Knights. You already had a Dino theme, and this is like almost like the 4th year or the 4th iteration that you're going to be having with it, and it's just going to be like. Shouldn't we have something like this, or something like this, or if any Zoogers, cubes, beasts, awesome uniforms, very sleek. But I definitely say it had in America it had its success. You had the Power Rangers, it's still popping. So they actually tried doing it in 2017, but the thing is, during that time it was like jumbled. I definitely say. I'm happy with the current standards that we have right now, the current medium. This is me telling you the pluses, minuses, suggestions, and overall aspects of what I would see and hear or watch of what Tokatsu is going on right now. This is Christopher Holohoyer for Real Masterminds, and we'll see you next time.